Oh, raindrops. We have to look, child. I already interviewed the whole cast, honey. And look, every one of my shows, there's at least one person to me who's like the super, 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 super fan of the show, right? Richie loves all my shows, child, and that's why I love him. But now y'all know when it comes to Love and Marriage DC, Richie is the supreme. He is the Diana Ross, honey, of the reviews when it comes. Child, Richie is the Diana Ross, honey, when it comes to the reviews of Love and Marriage DC. And what I love about Richie, he'll be like, this episode's an 8.5. This was a 10. I didn't like that. I'd be like, because I watch every interview you do. So look, of course, in tonight's recap, I had to talk about it with none other than the legendary Richie Skye, who, before I finish, child, Richie's been breaking the internet all week, especially with his Chris Bassett interview. We'll get into that later too, because here he go. We got to talk about some other stuff. So I'm like, honey, and we're gonna talk about your Chris Bassett explosive interview too. He had no idea. But anyway, welcome, Richie Skye.
Hey, thank you for having me once again. I appreciate it. And side note, I also want to just appreciate you for having people like me and Dustin on your platform, introducing us to your audience, because it makes a difference for us. It really does.
Thank you. And look, I will say this, because child, I'm just gonna say it. Y'all know I speak my mind and ask for forgiveness later. Gag, I never ask for forgiveness because I speak the truth. But I had a tearful moment a few episodes ago, and it came out of nowhere. I literally, one of my friends, Richie, called me afterwards. She said, at the very end of you recapping Potomac to talk about colorism, and you started crying, she said, bitch, the moment you were done, she said you had to look in your face like, what the F did I just do? She said you looked around the room like, oh, okay, bye. Anyways, I had a tearful moment. I shouted out Dustin and Richie, and Dustin's sweet self texted me like, thank you, we love you. And I just want y'all to know that there's a community of people in this industry who are people I truly do love and who I consider a friend. And DJ Richie Skye and, of course, Dustin are two people who I consider a friend. And what y'all don't know is when I decided to launch the YouTube version of my podcast, Reality with the King, I called Richie and was like, now look, I know how to do reality, child. Give me the tips on this. And Richie, because I want to give your flowers. Richie took time out of his busy day, because I listen, I never, ever, take advantage of people's time. He took time out of his day and walked me through the YouTube arena of posting and how to do this and how to do that. So I just want to say to the world, thank you for that. And you are truly one of the few people, because there's a lot of others I don't mess with, that I really do love.
You know, I love you too. You know that. And anything I can do to help or uplift and promote, I'm down. I'm down.
Yes. No, vice versa. So let's get right into it. So tonight's episode, child, we have a lot to get into. We got to get into whether Jamie has a drinking problem, child, whether Arena has a self-esteem problem, child, being called a nobody, and whether or not Joi is married. So let's just get started into the nooks and cranny. This episode, you really got a chance to see Winter's personal story, because one of the questions, right, Richie, let's get into it. One of the questions we kept being asked, and by we, the production, is why is Winter on the show? Is she there to stir a mess? And the one thing I love about this season of Love and Marriage DC is the fact that we are taking the reality path of showing real story. And we had no idea that Winter will find love. We had no idea that we would expose Winter's personal life. But as a fan of DC, talk to me about exactly what you thought of seeing Winter on a date and then seeing her daughter in this episode.
Okay, so I'm gonna be real. Normally, when I watch a character dating, I never think it's real. For some reason, there is something about the dating on reality. I'm just like, is it real? And I'm gonna get to how I know it's real in a moment. But I'm gonna get to that in a second. But I was asking myself the same thing. I was like, when are we gonna see Winter in her element, right? When are we gonna get to see that? But so we got that in this episode. But how I know that thing is real with Winter and that man, I saw them at a birthday party last week together. So it's real. Okay. That's what I can tell y'all. It's real.
No,
real deal.
It's the real deal. And listen, Sherelle needs to have a matchmaking business because when we started this season, we didn't know what to do with Winter in terms of like, okay, we're gonna follow the reality. And honey, there's more in store when it comes to Miss Winter. But the fact that Sherelle hooked her up with Yusha, that's his name, we did not know that it was going to form into a real bona fide relationship. So you saw them in person in real life. Did you see any sexual chemistry, although they're celibate?
This is what I can
Allegedly.
tell you that I did witness. I feel like, you know, when I think about the women that I know personally, right? And you think about the women in your life, I think we as other men always want women to be with somebody that's going to be a protector for them. And I can definitely tell you, Yusha has that vibe. Like, I feel like he is a protector. He's a real like man that is going to stand down, like 10 toes down for her. And that's the feeling that I got from him and her. So I couldn't tell you if there's anything more in terms of like what they have done, but I could definitely tell you that he is a stand-up guy, and I feel like he is a protector.
No, he really is. And what you guys will see the rest of the season is he gets in the mix with the men and he involves himself, right? Because Lord knows the men on DC, child, they love to talk. So Yusha gets into his journey amongst being friends with the men. He addresses some people who may have issues with Winter. And the only thing I will say is Yusha ain't one to mess with.
That was the vibe I got. Okay. I'm just, and I could leave it there. That was the exact vibe. You took the words out of my mouth.
No, that's exactly how it is. So Shantae got a man, and so does Winter. And look, not saying that you need a man, because of course, you know, the girls love to read me about things I said in the past and try to like confront me with it. So look, I've been receiving tons of messages from the Love and Marriage franchise fan club who said, well, Carlos, you asked Destiny, you don't have love or marriage. Why are you on the show? First of all, that was a question y'all asked. I repeated what y'all wanted me to ask. Okay, so I was doing my job as a host. Now, to answer your question about Winter, the show, yes, it's called Love and Marriage. And the essence of the show is to explore married couples or couples in relationships. Winter came on the show as a divorcee, you know, going through a divorce, I should say. And like I said, the plan for Winter all along was she's a fan favorite. People love her or hate her, which, you know, that makes me happy because I like it when you guys have 50-50 because that makes them much more interesting.
It does. It does.
Right? And you get to see the journey. So now you get to see it. So do you think us seeing the side of Winter helps her, Richie?
I definitely think it helps her. But I also think for me, when I'm watching these shows, And I think similar to Destiny, since you kind of brought her up, I feel like people are divorced, they're not dead. So at some point, they are gonna find love again. So why not follow that journey? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like you said it, I think in reference to Martell, you didn't just drop him because he got divorced from Melody. You didn't just drop her. It was a situation where, okay, well, what is next? Because there are tons of people out there that are going to be able to relate to that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're seeing that on Love and Marriage Huntsville, which, by the way, keep watching this interview because I'm going to spill some Love and Marriage Huntsville tea. And Richie got some questions for me. So stay tuned for Love and Marriage Huntsville new season tea. Okay, but tonight is about DC. Seeing Winter with her daughter was such a special moment. You got a chance to see her be a mom. And what I like about Winter's journey is you're seeing the softer side of Winter.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most interesting thing about this new phase in Winter as one of the stars of Love and Marriage DC.
I agree with that. I think that it's so easy on some shows for the, I don't want to say the fans, but like to be perceived and to be put into a box as like the villain, especially when that person has been on the outskirts of most of the cast. So it almost could feel like if we didn't see this side of her, like, oh, well, that's all she is. And in that case, I can understand why somebody would say, well, why is she on the show? Well, no, she's more than a vehicle. We actually get to see who she is. And she has a family. She has kids. You know, it wasn't just that she came onto this story with a man that left or a marriage that went wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I like that.
No, I do too. And like I said, keep watching because you're going to see more of Winter's life. And you're also going to see more of Jamie putting his foot in his mouth. So Jamie and Arena, not since Peter Thomas, Marceau Scott, even Martell Holt, have I witnessed a man on reality TV embrace the villain role that they have. Jamie, in my opinion, is one of the greatest male stars that we are witnessing on Earth because he is who he is. And I know you had him on your show recently.
Yeah.
Jamie, obviously a retired cop. And I feel like Jamie is like, you know what? For 25 years, rightfully so, I had to be buttoned up.
Yeah.
For 25 years, Jamie was in college. You know what I'm saying? Like he had to like make sure that he was going to graduate. And like a lot of people, when they leave college, child, you know, they like to be nice on the sauce. Some people like to be nice on the sauce in college too, child. But the good ones like to wait until after they graduate. Jamie is showing the world, to me, who he really is. But I want to hear from you because do you think Jamie has a drinking problem?
Well, as per my interview with him, Jamie thinks he does
Shameless
not
plug.
Well, listen, I learned from the best, baby. I learned from the best. No, but I think that for Jamie, he does not perceive himself as having a drinking problem. But the thing that you hit the nail on the head, he's embracing his inner villain. But I think that there's more to it than that, which I think separates him from some of the other men. And here's why. In my conversation with Jamie, he talked about what it's like to work in that type of role, what it's like to be a police officer, especially in Southeast DC, right? So you do that for 25 years. It completely shapes and molds how you think, how you're on guard 24/7, and how you interact with people. So that now when you come out of it, you don't realize that you are still reacting, okay, to situations that may be everyday to everyone else, but you're reacting in a way that is still on I don't want to say on attack mode, but we kind of talked about that. Like we see him in aggressive mode quite a bit on this show. But what we didn't see, I think, with a Marceau or a Martell was, well, what shaped you to react this way?
Okay.
And with Jamie, we can actually dive into something concrete. Whereas with maybe Marceau or Martell, it could have been family dynamics, which we've heard a little bit about. But I feel like even with them, we can still dive deeper into that. But with Jamie, I feel like, okay, we're about to get this because you're in therapy. And we're seeing it on the show. We ain't seen, well, we have seen their Martell and Marceau's therapy a little bit, but I feel, I don't know if it worked, but you know, that's a different story.
Poor Dr. Francis. No, the good thing, listen, Dr. Francis is a genius in terms of what he does for a living. But you got to be receptive to therapy to heal. The difference, to your point, is Jamie really wanted the help.
Yeah. You stated that so eloquently.
Yes. And Jamie, you may also need help in other areas. So let me tell you about Jamie. Listen, Jamie likes a cocktail, okay? And when a person drinks, what people have always said, and I'm sure you heard this too, oh, drinking brings out the truth in people, right?
I've heard
that. We've all heard that. And I don't know Jamie like that, right? What I will say is Jamie truly does speak his mind. And Jamie reminds me of a lot of men in my family, like my daddy, who, I'm just going to say it, who feels like my wife is where she's at in life because of what I was able to do with her. And a lot of men feel that way. Because for him to, I like to report the facts, which is why my name is Carlos Walters Winfrey Williams King. I like to report the facts because in my Portia voice, I am a journalist like Tamron Hall. Okay, so as a journalist, I like to go deeper in terms of my storytelling. And what I've seen in the history of Jamie for the past 2 seasons is anytime Arena has a moment, Jamie feels the need to attach himself to it. And that to me is what's interesting, because even last year at the reunion, the whole thing, like, you made, like, I made her. I made her. And listen, no shade, Arena said he did, which of course me and the rest of the girls gagged. Like, Arena, is that Bob squeezing your head too tight? Girl, I'm trying to help you escape this man. No, I'm teasing. I love Arena and her Bob. So, but Jamie has made that reference. Then last week's episode, he said, yeah, this wig stuff is cute, but let's get back to the TikToks. And then tonight, he says to her, you were nobody when I met you. Richie, you're married. And like me, Richie, you're also private. So I respect your privacy. But my question to you is this. Can your husband ever tell you he made you, child, or vice versa?
No. Okay. No. I can't. Well, aside from who said it, I could never say that. I don't even know where, like, we would not be talking if I said that. Can you imagine? I cannot imagine that. No. All the hard work and sweat equity, I don't care if somebody does tell you to do something, right? Think about how many people in your life mentored you, right? They might have mentored you, but it still was Carlos King who did the things that he needed to do, who pitched, who, produced, who brought out the best in these stars. How are you going to tell some? No, okay? But my question was going to be for you is, do you think, because I don't think he, even in our conversation, do you think he does that subconsciously?
I think he does it consciously. No, listen, I'm trying to tell you, one thing about me, and I know I'm being funny saying journalist, although I did study in college, but I Hey, DJ Richie Hall. No, so we did, right?
Okay.
And I study human behavior. I study Black men, like true tea. I spent last week watching a series that was on YouTube of these Black men on a panel. And they were talking about sex, love, relationships, and faith in women and all that. And because I'm not a heterosexual Black man, I wanted to hear from others. And I learned so much listening to them. Yes, they're fools. I'm teasing. But no, I learned a lot listening from them. I'm teasing. But a lot of men do feel like I made you and you were nobody when I met you. So I think that's how Jamie feels, because Jamie did say, and this is what Jamie says, so I'm not spilling tea. Jamie said he cleaned up Irena's credit, okay? And because she had a bad spending habit, because Jamie was a side piece, so Irena had to be...
She did say it.
Yes, I don't know if Irena was the benefactor in this relationship at the time, but when you're trying to juggle two men, you also have to juggle some bank accounts and move some things around. So Irena had bad credit. That's what Jamie said. That's not what I'm coming up with. And obviously, Irena is probably one of the most beautiful women on television. And she's very stylish. So is Jamie. So again, I'm going to ask this at the reunion, spoiler, but there's something about who Irena is today that Jamie feels like he had a hand in molding this glamazon who has good credit, good sense, and a good wig. Not so, both leaning back like Fat Joe. Go ahead, child.
I'm putting something together because they technically work together, right? We talked about them doing the reels and the social media stuff. And I do wonder now that you kind of mentioned it, like, if you're working with your partner and you're doing social media and you're becoming, popular on social media and stuff like that, like, does a part of you feel like when the other side of the equation starts to do something on their own, that you need to have a part in that? Because everything else you're doing together, or it was maybe your idea. So that's a valid question.
No, and Martell Holt. So remember earlier seasons of Huntsville when Melody used to grace the covers of magazines with Martell behind her, no shade, and sometimes next to her too, child. But and she will also accept the awards, and Martell was in the audience looking up, giving you Courtney B. Vance, and like he does Angela Bassett, and was recorded. I love you, Martell. So remember, Martell was like, it was the Melody Holt show. And he was like, don't forget about me. Like, I was also part of this. I'm telling you, Richie, these men feel that way when you work together. And one thing I like about you and I, we are not in business with our men.
No, okay. No. Don't even gotta worry about it, because it's a natural thing. It could happen. It could really happen, Carlos. Thank God. Thank the Lord for that.
In the words of Marcel Scott, I have no desire to be a power couple. That's why the gag is this. If I'm like any man on the Love and Marriage franchise, and y'all about to gag, I am more Marceau. I am more very much like, I do this and you do that.
I'm telling you, the more I watch Love and Marriage Huntsville, the more I get Marceau in those respects. I get it. I get that. No, you do that and I do this. That's why we work.
And me and you are happy.
Okay.
We are spilling. This is the sad part. Me and Richie are so private with our relationship. I can't believe our Kiki is giving y'all some tea, some insight. Let's move on, child, before I expose more of my African. Okay. And no, like I said, he doesn't have one eye. That's Kimora. Kimora who's across the street. Yes, honey. In the Lamborghini. Anyways, no, the Ferrari. Sorry. Okay. Anywho, enough about that.
Ooh, take me back. Take me back.
Yes, I know.
We'll good old days. Okay.
The good old days. Okay. So what I thought was interesting is Quicksilver, who never met a match that he didn't want to box with. On that double date, he politely, in his Quicksilver way, go ahead, Richie.
Let me tell you what I like. Quicksilver is that type of character you need on the show. He might be booked and busy, but I don't know what it is that I don't know if he said we on the clock. Jamie, were you drinking again? Okay, because I think you got a problem. I mean, he just set it off. I was like, and wasted no time. He's been doing that in every scene he's been in. Have you noticed that?
Yes, because that's what he does to the producers. I have to be on my radio show in 20 minutes. So how long you?
We gotta go. Let's get down to the bottom. I don't have time to play these tiddlywinks with y'all. Let's talk about it. You drinking or not? I'm here for it because he's getting down to the nitty gritty, not wasting no time. I don't even think they had a drink, Carlos. I don't think they had a drink.
Child, I think Jamie was afraid to have a drink around Quicksilver after asking that question, child. He said, I will have some alkaline water with a straw.
But they will have a nerve to take him to brunch.
A spot that DC is known for, which are their bottomless brunches, child.
Okay, so. That's what I'm saying. If you know, you know. You gonna take this man and you worry about him drinking, you gonna take him to brunch? Okay, no.
But Jamie it's funny. I enjoy this little spat that Jamie and Quick be having.
I do too.
Right? It's sort of like big brother, little brother.
Yes,
and because
that's what I was about to say.
It kind of gives you that, because the thing about Jamie in this scene, because in the last double date, remember, Ashley and Quick, approached Jamie once again, like you were heavy on the sauce and you were calling your son a bum and blah, blah, blah. And Jamie was like, I don't remember that. And then Ashley's like, tonight, you said she was a nobody. I don't remember that.
If you don't, honestly, okay, so let's have a real talk. If it was one of my friends, right, and they told me, I don't remember. This is like the third time you don't remember. So, actually, let's get you some water, okay? We're not gonna, no mimosas for you. Like, we need to have a talk, friend. We need to have a talk. But the man told me he won't drunk.
No, look, I'm telling you.
Do you know when you're drunk?
Well, I don't drink. I have too much. Listen, all this I got, me and drinking don't make sense. I don't drink. I have too much. This may sound crazy. I have way too much personality and energy and stuff going on that I like to remember things, child. Especially nowadays. Like I said to you before, people be shading me and I'd be like, oh, I didn't know we had an issue, but maybe I should remember next time, child. So I need to always be alert.
Oh, and listen, if you're gonna forget, please do not drink. Okay.
So when it comes to Jamie, look, I just think Jamie is also an older man, right? And drinking when you're an older man, you don't remember a lot because the stamina ain't what it used to be. And that's not shade, because Jamie looks amazing, right? Jamie is a very attractive man. So I don't think he'd be drunk, because I will say this. I know that when it comes to the producers, they're like, oh, he's just, You know what it is? It's sort of like how Beyonce has Sasha Fierce.
Yeah.
When she's on stage, she turns into this other person. I think when Jamie has a cocktail, he just turns into this other person. And that's why Beyonce says when she hops off stage, she doesn't remember what Sasha did on the stage. So, child, I'm stretching this defending Jamie. But hear me out. That's how much I love me some Jamie, child, because even I'm like, Carlos, you're trying it. But I think that JV just likes to have fun. But it also goes to show you Irena doesn't think it's serious either, because the reaction that we assume a wife would have, Irena doesn't have any of that because she knows her man.
Boom. Now that is also a good point, because I feel like also too, if what you're saying about, okay, if he's fixed her credit, if they have gotten to a point where, you know, she's a boss, he's now retired. I mean, something about all of that worked. At the end of the day, something about it worked because she ain't unhappy. So maybe he just had those moments where he don't, you know, everybody don't say the right thing. But that's also what makes for a good reality TV show, because if everybody said the right thing, like, you need people that just are not afraid to put their foot in their mouth.
Right. Right.
Because if everybody was, as I try to be politically correct, but some days it just don't work.
No.
And you end up saying something, you be like, dang, why I say that?
Yeah.
And maybe he's just having those moments, especially, and I think it becomes a little easier when you drink too.
Yeah, and listen, the one thing I do love about Jamie is he is unapologetic with who he is. That's why I'm like, he gives me Peter Thomas and Marcel in the sense of, this is who I am. He trolls the internet. He responds to everybody that asks him, and he's having fun. So look, I think that's just who he is. And like you said, at the end of the day, Irena knows who she's married to, and at least as of right now, she seems to be like, this is my husband, and I'm going to stick beside him. Now, with that being said, we also have a mystery on our show in this episode, and that's the Joi and Clifton of it all.
Yes.
Now, before we get into the hottest topic tonight that broke the internet, what are your thoughts on Joi and Clifton as an addition to Love and Marriage, DC?
Well, okay. So, this is a complicated one. I don't really feel like I've gotten that much of Clifton, and I don't know if it's because he's having a lot of back issues or they've been sick with the Mexico Montezuma's Revenge. It's something going on with them every week where they can't make it to the scene. So that's a big problem for me, because it's preventing me from getting to know y'all. It's the truth. It is the truth. Every episode, something is wrong. I'm like, listen, what can we do? How can we help y'all? Is it the move? Do you gotta drive too far? I don't know. But let me say, and because I didn't watch them on Ready to Love, I would like to get to know more about them. What I do like about Joi is, it's not gonna sound good, but it is good, is that Joi is the type of reality TV personality that she, for some reason, cannot help but to find herself in conflict. And that is because what she says in confessionals or in one situation don't always match up to what she say in another situation, right? So you'll be kind of like, no, wait a minute, but you told her this, and then you said this, and how you gonna skirt past this whole, they arguing over something you said, but you Homer Simpson in the background disappeared into the bushes. Like, what? But she doesn't realize that she creates her own conflict. And it's fascinating for me to watch. I mean, and I don't think she knows she's doing it, because I think she's probably the type of person that most of us want to avoid conflict, right? And drama in our lives. Yeah. I feel like she has stepped into this, walked out onto a battlefield that she helped create, and then wants to back away from it like, oh, I didn't do that. But you are the one with the problem. And are you married or not? Because you could have told us this ahead of time and just said y'all planning a big wedding or something like that. Are they married or not? Like, all y'all married or not?
After BS, Carlos Reginald King the first, or should I say Carlos Walters Winfrey Williams King? Are they married or not? So look, let me go back a little bit to what you said, because I actually want to address that.
Okay, please.
It's interesting that you mentioned something that I think a lot of people are seeing. A lot of people really want to get to know Joi and Clifton.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, Clifton is this handsome guy. He's this big teddy bear. Joi is interesting. She's not like anybody you see on TV. She's not like any of the cast members on DC, obviously. And you believe their love.
Yes.
When they're
100%.
together, it exudes Black love. They are the sheer definition of we love each other, and we are in our honeymoon phase. And I'm not saying that to say it's post-marriage or pre-marriage, but they're in a honeymoon phase.
Ooh.
You have to wait to see what happens next week. But what I'll say is this. People are invested in wanting to know more about Joi and Clifton, right?
Yes.
And I do think what people are desiring is much more of an inside track into like, no, let's see more. Let's see more. And this is the reason why I always tell people it's difficult in people's first season to give and show everything. Which is why this season you got a chance to see Ashley and her mom. You're seeing Ashley talk about mental illness and how she almost committed suicide, like touching on stuff on a second season you see more of, because the first season you're trying to establish. So I also think that's the reason why Joi and Clifton are people, they're like, no, we like y'all. Y'all are an attractive couple. It's because their first season is this, and Jamie even said this. He said, my first season, I held back. And I think a lot of people's first season, right? A lot of people first season, they hold back. And I think that's what you may be seeing with Joi and Clifton, like, because this isn't a dating show. They met on a dating show where you don't expose your personal life. You show up at your call time, you go out on a date, production pays for the chicken fingers, the French fries, the ketchup, the one drink only, and you get to drive home and spend 20 hours doing what you want to do. And I think that's what they were accustomed to.
Gotcha.
But now,
because that's what they given.
Yes, I think yeah. Richard, like, they show up, they eat the chicken fingers, they got the cocktail, they said what they said, they're like, we're joining Quicksilver, where we're chucking the deuce. Because one thing about Quicksilver,
she going to sing with Quicksilver,
right? Yeah, I'm singing where he's DJing, so I also got to go. There we go. Exactly. This is so funny, messy, and shady, and I'm here for it. Okay, so before we get to your question, I want to ask you this.
Okay.
You're a super fan of the show. You are a connoisseur of reality television, and you just so happen to know the cast.
Yeah.
Do you think Ashley was wrong for bringing up a conversation that allegedly she had with Joi about whether or not she was married?
So it's like a moment on every show that always is like a tipping point, right? To when it's about to like really, it's about to really go crazy. For me, this feels like that moment. Was she wrong? I don't know that I would have had the cojones to do that, but I feel like Ashley got the cojones. So I feel like if she was living in her truth and she said it, I feel like, yeah, like it's out there. We're going to have this conversation, whether it's unpleasant or not. And I do appreciate the fact that she said it right to her. I told her this. I said it, and I'm wrong for it. I was being petty, but I did say it. Now, what you gonna say? Because that's what happened.
Okay, because we all in our Lululemon and sneakers. So what's good? Like,
Right,
if you want to rumble with the B-Hobbs, like, we all got time and opportunity and space. What's good?
Because 2 scenes ago, okay, Joi stepped into the Ponderosa at the bartending place.
Wait. Is this Jackie Christie's Ponderosa?
She stepped into that Ponderosa with her tennis shoes on so she could get to running if she need to. Now, this is one of those times she might want to have those tennis shoes on so she can get to running out this room before she have to answer that question. She is dressed appropriately for the scene. I love
it. Yes. No, to your point, listen, we'll get more into this at the reunion, but I will say this. You touched on something that everyone knows about me. We follow the reality. And one thing I will say about Ashley that I love, Ashley speaks her mind because she's following the reality of the life. And the beautiful thing about reality television is you will never win 100% of the audience. No. And that's the one thing I tell my cast, like, there's going to be people that will always have a problem with you. Just, like, who cares? Like, that's life. I appreciated the fact that in real life, Ashley is alleging this conversation happened. She owned up to the fact that I said this. And to your point, instead of dancing around it like some people in Potomac does, hey, Karen. You know, I love you, Red Dom.
I'm going to tell you, you know, Karen does like the Punani pop around the question. She will do the snake around and she will give you, you know what I'm saying? She will give you a little of this, a little of that. But you know what? Karen will come out unscathed and be like, yes. Now, what else is going on?
You and I are going to do a very special episode on how does Karen Huger get away with murder. Viola Davis, take a seat. Karen, teach the girls how to get away with. Karen gets away with, but that's whatever they said about Potomac. But me and you both agree that whatever Karen is doing, and this is no shade, Karen, you winning. You have, unscathed.
Come out looking pretty.
Pretty, honey. It says,
fresh
Ray, look, Ray, sit behind me and Andy, ask him the question again because I want to make sure we get on camera. We're not going to wrap this segment until the man behind me addresses this infidelity because he has to read the script I wrote for him on the voice memo, allegedly. I was like, Ray, do your part. Here go Ray. And Karen said, oh, okay. Here's my beats. Got it. Cool. Anyways, I digress. So, this is the messiest review. Okay. Oh, gosh, Carlos, you're going to get so much trouble. Whatever. Okay, stop. To Ashley's credit, she went to the source and said, I am going to tell you what I said about you. Ashley did not raise her voice.
No.
She wasn't confrontational about it. And that's why I would say at the end of the day, and there's going to be people who agree or disagree, I will say the philosophy that I tell my cast is follow the reality. And in my opinion, Ashley was following her reality. Now, whether or not Joi is married, you will find out next week.
Oh, we will find out. Okay.
Oh, you're going to find out. You will find out.
I thought she was going to try to make us wait till a reunion. I was like,
no.
I'm going to go down the street and ask somebody.
Right. Richie said, I will get the exclusive the way I got the Chris Bassett one. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. Okay. You will find out next week whether or not Joi is married to Clifton. What I will say is you hit the nail on the head. It is literally the tipping point of what's about to come. Because what y'all saw in the trailer at the Christmas Eve party, where they all had on their Santa Claus inspired outfits, and Ashley and Joi got into it, Keep watching. There's 2 more episodes to go after tonight that you're going to see it.
You know what's funny? I have been so engrossed in the season, I forgot that moment was coming.
Oh,
I really did, because you took me on a journey, especially with Jamie and Lil Jamie.
yeah.
And even with stuff with Quick, I mean, it's been real life happening that I honestly have forgot. It's like little things that I forgot from the trailer. So I mean, yes. Bravo.
No, thank you. And this is the reason why, look, I love this season. It's a great season. The fans love it. Everyone is saying it's much better than last season. So I thank you guys for that. And we have 2 more episodes to go before the mid-season finale of Love and Marriage DC. So once Love and Marriage DC comes off, this show, I don't know, that's in Alabama, called Love and Marriage Huntsville. The show I like to call The Blueprint. Not Melody's blueprint she gave to Tisha, but my own blueprint. Allegedly. Yes. Okay. Shade. I love it. Okay. So Love and Marriage Huntsville returns Saturday, April 8th, 8:00, 7 Central on OWN. And Richie, before I let you go, I'll say this to you.
Okay.
This season, because unlike other people in my business, I would never say all the time, this season is better than last season, because we're still filming. So I'm not going to say that just yet, because I have to see the entire season before I make that declaration, because y'all know I don't lie. What I will say is this. This season is not a regurgitation of last season. You are about to experience some new dynamics.
Okay.
Expect the unexpected. New friendships. New alliances. New beefs. And yes, you will see Sheree.
What? Oh!
And I'm going to tease you with this. Sheree Whitfield makes an appearance. And the only thing I will say is Sheree gets into a nice, nasty conversation with a cast member that's a female. It's unexpected. It's nice, nasty. It's so nice, nasty that it has a domino effect that involves Martell. And that domino effect got so heated that some people got into a heated disagreement that had to be separated. All thanks to Sheree.
Listen, because can't nobody do nice nasty like Sheree.
All I'll say is when this female was talking to Sheree, Sheree put her drink down and said, "Look, honey." Anyway, that's all I'm gonna give you. Go ahead, Richie Skye, child.
I do have. See now, you done took me down a different path, but I'm still not gonna veer from my mission. Okay. Now I got one Miss Wanda question for you.
Not question with the R.
Question. Okay. Shout out to Miss Wanda.
Hey, Miss Wanda.
I looked at the press release. Where is Destiny?
Oh gosh.
You had to know.
What happened to the press release? What are you talking about? What happened?
The press release said, and I got it committed to memory. Okay. 3 new cast members. It said that verbatim. All right. For those of you guys that didn't read it, it says Stormy Steele, Courtney, and Kiki Jabbar. Now, when it also ran down the cast list, it said Melody, Martell, Letitia, Marceau, Kimmy, Maurice, Tiffany, and Lewis.
I'm looking.
And that's all I saw. What's the tea?
Look, I think that's Destiny's story to tell.
Okay, so go ask her. Okay, I got you. We got it, y'all.
What I say to you, I love you so. The fact that you hit a pause and said, okay, go ask her.
We know what to do. I got you.
That made Richie. Now that was Richie. That was good. Listen, I'll say this much. Look, I like to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to express themselves and to express themselves. So, yeah, it's not my story to tell. Obviously, that was a big question people started asking when I posted the picture yesterday of the cast. People like to call them the Core Six.
They are.
They are. I didn't listen, because people like to throw me shade. I had nothing to do with who was in or not in the listen, child. I produce the show and I go home with my African and our dog, and I leave my child, I'll leave it at the table, honey. So, but again, I want to make sure to respect people's boundaries.
Okay.
And yeah, so we'll see.
All right. We got you.
I always get in trouble when I talk to you. Oh God. I always call it. Okay. Anyway, so Love and Marriage Huntsville returns April 8th, 8:00 7 Central. And look, all I'll say is the hashtag for this new season, we're calling it Back to Business.
Well, folk like me like that. Okay. I get into the business aspect of what they do. I'm telling you, that's what I think is so different and so just amazing about this group. Actually, both groups, because you really highlight that, and I feel like that's something to be. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, that's big for us. So, yeah, but obviously, I will invite you back on as we, premiere Huntsville and talk about this upcoming season. So, Richie Skye, I love you, and I thank you for recapping DC with me. Now, tell the Raindrops, child, where they can find you, follow you, and support you.
You guys can find me on Instagram, on YouTube at DJ Richie Skye. You guys can buy my book, The Wickedest Wives, Desiree's Desire, on Amazon.com.
No, tell us what the book is about.
Oh, so it's about a disgraced journalist.
Portia, Tamara Hall, Lonnie Love. Go ahead.
A disgraced journalist. She actually is trying to rebuild her life, and she joins a reality TV show. So it's about all the drama and the chaos that ensues. She has a love triangle. There's a murder. It's a mystery. So it'll be like a 3 to 4 part series. So this is the first book out now.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Look at that. Come on. Author. Add it to his resume. Well, thank you, Richie. I will see you soon, my love.
All right. Thank you.